Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another episode here at the Debate Circle. And we are in the Mount Kenya region discussing everything chamas. And the motion of dissection reads, informal saving groups, that is chamas, are more effective than formal banking institutions in promoting financial literacy among women in Kenya. I'll read the motion of dissection again. Informal saving groups, chamas, are more effective than formal banking institutions in promoting financial literacy among women in Kenya. Proposing and opposing this motion, we have Nyeri High School versus Njiiri School. All the best to both teams. Team proposition, first speaker, you have 3 minutes.
I don't understand. I don't want to understand. Because, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to take you back to the year 2010. The year whereby it was December 25th, Christmas Day. It was a happy day, but in my family, it was sad. Why was it sad? Because we had no finances. My dad had just recently been fired from his job, and my mother had recently invested in chama. We had no way to celebrate Christmas that year. I remember that day, the mere thought of sleeping hungry, it just was a nightmare to me. But all this changed when my mother walked in with a feast akin to that of the Passover. But question is, where did she get this money? She got it from chamas. Chamas, whereby she had been investing her money, whereby she had been placing her money, pulling her money together with others, and at that moment of her desperate time, chama came to her. Chama remembered her, and we got our meal happily. My name is Raphael Gitari from the Centenary School, Nyeri High School, here to firmly propose the motion that states informal saving groups are more effective than formal banking institutions in promoting financial literacy among women in Kenya. Informal savings group, what are these? These are grassroots community-based associations whereby members pool their money together regularly. That's according to Financial Sector Deepening Kenya. What is financial literacy? It is the ability to understand and effectively use various financial skills, including budgeting and investing. That's according to investopedia.com. What is formal banking institution? These are institutions that are subject to government regulation, also from investopedia.com. Now, let us remember that day whereby I was about to sleep hungry, but chama was there. Chama not only gave us the funds, it promoted togetherness. It promoted unity. Just like it's chama, unity, one. They promoted trust because chama, it does not eat your money. They pool the money together, and when you are desperate, it comes to your aid. According to Financial Sector Deepening Kenya, 73% of chama members in Kenya report increased financial knowledge and confidence due to their participation in group activities. Remember, chama is not one person, it's many. Meaning that when they come together, they are able to peer teach each other on financial literacy. Thereby, they are able to gain skills such as saving. That is why I know all of you, your mothers keep on telling you, you must save, you must save. Where do you think they get this knowledge? Chama. That's why chama is there. And let us remember, the average woman cannot access the bank everywhere because they are rural areas. That's why chama is there. It is accessible. It is there to meet the needs of the common woman today. And according to Kenyan National Bureau of Statistics, reports that informal saving groups reach over 45% of rural households, providing essential financial services and education where formal banks have limited reach. I don't know about you, but I'd rather have a bank, let's say a bank that is friendly to me, or that a bank that has a cool title up front, but it doesn't remember me when I'm poor. Thank you.
Oh, sorry for that. Sorry. I get carried away most of the time, almost literally by everything. But what I am sure I cannot be carried away with is the lies, myths, and narratives that Team Proposition have been telling us all along. Well, to kick things off, let me conduct my work as the first speaker from Njiiri School. Join me, George Elvins, from the great Njiiri School, as I'm here to firmly oppose the motion that says informal saving groups, chamas, are more effective than formal banking institutions in promoting financial literacy of women in Kenya. So before I kick things off, I'm going to define some of the terms in the motion. On top of the list, we have financial literacy. What exactly is financial literacy? Financial literacy, based according to the Advanced Learners Oxford Dictionary, that is the 10th edition, refers to financial literacy as the ability to understand or comprehend various issues involving money and finances. Next on the list, we have informal saving groups, or the so-called chamas. What are these chamas, or the informal saving groups? These informal saving groups are community-based financial system where members pool their savings together. Number 3, we have formal banking institutions. What are these formal banking institutions? And why do my team opposition, stand by these formal banking institutions? Well, let me define formal banking institutions to you. Formal banking institutions are licensed financial entities that provide a range of services to individuals. An example of a formal banking institution, we have commercial banks, central banks, and saving groups. Well, I would like to pose a question to team proposition. You are solidly supporting these informal saving groups. Well, I would like you to picture this. I'm a farmer located somewhere in Muranga, decides that on this very fine Sunday morning, what am I going to do? I'm going to my farm. What am I going to do? I'm going to farm. On arriving at the farm, he realizes that he does not have a djembe. Well, what does that mean? He has to go back home, get a djembe, and then go back to the farm. I reflect this unprepared farmer to the informal saving groups. What do I mean when I say this? I would like to ask team proposition a question. How do you intend on promoting financial literacy of our women in Kenya when you do not have the necessary resources and expertise to do that? How do you plan on doing that? Do you know that women in informal saving groups, they lack the required resources and expertise? They are not skilled in matters of finances. So how are they going to promote their financial literacy if they do not have some of these resources? How do you plan on doing that? How do you plan on doing that? Okay, number 2, I would also like you to picture this. A woman somewhere in Kenya, your mother, she belongs to a chama, correct? She belongs to a chama. So your mother, how do you think your mother is going to trust somebody whom she does not even know, giving her all her life savings to put for her? Do you know that in informal saving groups, there's a higher risk of mismanagement and fraud compared to the formal banking institutions? Do you know that? I guess your mother is not willing to lose all her money to somebody she does not trust. Well, before I rest my case, I want to remind team proposition that at the end of every tunnel, there is light, and that light is the formal banking institutions. I rest my case and leave the rest to the judges. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, remember the agricultural shows you used to go to, or the festivals? Now, for me, one of my favorite rides was the merry-go-round, where I will sit at a place and I will spin around screaming for joy just because life was good. But now here is a more grown-up version of the merry-go-round. Chamas, where you end up with people who sit down together, who actually know each other, who know where each other comes from, and they decided they're going to give their money to one of them to be the manager, and that at several intervals you will end up gaining the money. Now before you is Alvin Washera from the Nyeri High School, here to firmly propose this motion that states that informal savings groups or chamas are more effective than formal banking institutions in promoting financial literacy among women in Kenya. Now, my dear sisters, Bishop Gatimo Gandu girls, imagine there was a time when you will be considered a beast of burden, when your work would only be to carry firewood and take it from the forest to home and carry water from the river to home. But now, Chamas have decided to open a gateway for you to become the best you can be, the next CEO of a company, where you and several others of your age or older can sit down and decide to manage money. Ladies and gentlemen, according to the World Bank, 20% of household income in Kenya, 20% of the household income in Kenya comes from Chamas. Now, if 20% of the household income in Kenya comes from Chamas, are you telling us that 20% of that all these families are wrong? Are you telling us that you don't stand for your own mother gaining finances? Are you telling us that you don't stand for the young, beautiful girl seated here gaining finances? You are ruining their future. I can't believe you're going to be their future husbands. Please, choose better. Ladies and gentlemen, according to CGAP, 95% of Chamas are of people who actually know each other, people who have a common background or a common goal. Because believe you me, I won't work with you if your goal is to poverty. I wouldn't. I will work with you if your goal is to grow. And that is why Chamas are there, so that we can grow, not to regress us, not to ensure that these beautiful women don't have a future, but to give them the future they deserve. Ladies and gentlemen, according to CARE, approximately 70% of Chamas are owned by women. I didn't say men, I said women. 70% of the Chamas we have are owned and run by women. Compared to banks, which by the way is giving your money to someone you don't know. What about the Chama, where you know you can access it? I am Raf's neighbor, and that day I was there when the mother brought home the big feast. I was there, and the Chama, which my mother is a part of, enabled them to have a Santa Claus for Christmas. So believe you me, I'd rather fight for the rights of these young women than stand with you when it comes to destroying their futures by denying them Chamas.
For God so loved the world of man that he gave us women. But then the world of man decided to lay so many heavy loads on the shoulders of women. So I want us all to reduce these heavy loads by promoting financial literacy in women in Kenya through formal financial institutions. First of all, I want to tell the second speaker of the proposing team that I actually do stand for my mother, knowing how to manage her finances in the right way. I do not want my family to end up on a Christmas day without knowing what to eat, without knowing who to invite, because we have nothing. That is why I promote financial literacy among women in Kenya through formal banking institutions. The proposers have been speaking a lot, but I want to correct them on everything they have said. The first speaker told us that his family's feast on Christmas was actually made possible due to a Chama. But I want to tell him that maybe he benefited at that one time, but does he expect to benefit from these Chamas on every single Christmas? Everyone in the hall, tell me, do you expect to eat on Christmas due to the help of an informal financial institution? Do you actually want to rely on a Chama for your Christmas, for every single holiday? Do you? Come on, do you? Okay, then I hope the proposers have learned something. I hope the proposers have learned that these Chamas are unreliable. With formal banking institutions, you can be sure. To the first proposer, if your mother had secured your Christmas future with a formal financial institution, you would have never been in that situation, because there are formal financial institutions that deal with specific sectors such as investment. If she had invested in this formal financial institution, you would have never been in that situation. To the first proposer again, you told us that informal financial institutions that informal financial institutions have access to communities where formal banks may have limited access. I want to tell you that formal financial institutions do not have limited access. This is according to FSD Africa, Financial Sector Deepening Africa, and Financial Sector Deepening Kenya. Why? Because they are advanced technologically, infrastructurally, and according to the number of people working there to ensure a safer future for the financial literacy of women in Kenya.
Yes, I actually do want to rely on Chama for every Christmas. In fact, I want to rely on Chama for Saturday KFC, for Sunday Chicken Inn, for Monday Pizza Inn, for Tuesday McDonald's, and so on and so forth. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Before you is Alvin Karaoke here to firmly propose the motion that states informal savings group or Chamas are more effective than formal banking institutions for financially literate in Kenya. Well, for financial literacy for women in Kenya. Let me agree with my second proposer. He simply stated that 70% of women own chamas. It seemed quite irrelevant at the moment, but still relevant to me. But the Central Bank of Kenya states that chamas manage 300 billion in savings investments. What does this mean? Let's look at the STAR. A report done in November 22nd, 2019, the STAR recorded that 20% of GDP in Kenya is run by chamas. 90% of Kenyans participate in these chamas. Let's look at fishing. Fishing, according to kefs.co.ke, fishing contributes to 0.7% of GDP. According to Kenya Chambers, it states that mining contributes to less than 1% of Kenya's GDP. According to Statista.com, forestry contributes to 3.6% of the GDP. So, do I want to rely on something that contributes more than fishermen in Lake Victoria? Yes. Do I want to rely on people who mine some philosopher somewhere for my chicken inn? Yes. Do I want to rely on them for all these things? I do. Do you? It's that simple. Self-reliance. A report by World Bank simply says that the chamas play a significant role in entrepreneurship for self-reliance. I know they might come here and boost my ego and say, how is self-reliance? How is self-reliance for women? And they are coming together. Relax, communities. They are coming together to make these chamas and be self-reliant as a community. And it can raise entrepreneurs, teaching them creative ways to earn this money in the merry-go-round. Where we come to Mama Shiro's home today and we learn how she does things. We go to Mama Kimani another day. We learn how she does things in our day to day. Don't you want your mom to have quality education? We all want our parents to have quality education, to learn how to get you not just a Passover for Christmas, but a trip to South Africa, a trip to Ireland every December. That is what we hope for. But I don't know, you can follow them for mining or something like that if you wish. Flexibility. Kenya Institute for Public Policy Research and Analysis. Chamas are flexible to cater for dynamic approaches and financial capacities. Not every parent is the same in financial capacities, but banks have fixed ways of handling things, which means Mama Shiro is held outside the ball game if she can't handle it. Mama Kimani is held outside if she does not have the same financial goals for this bank. So please, let's look back and think. Do we really want what they wish for? Oh, and I'm sorry, I'm late for Chama. Let me join my mother. Thank you for your time.
Little did you know how he's heartbreaking to propose this. Little did you know financial literacy among women. Little did you know formal banking institution is the best way. Ladies and gentlemen, how can informal saving groups ensure long-term financial stability and protection for women without the robust regulatory frameworks that formal banking institutions offer? To our proposers, how can informal saving groups match the scalability and technological advancements of formal banks that can provide digital financial literacy program to women across Kenya? Ladies and gentlemen, do we want to eat Christmas or we want a long-term financial stability that help each our women in a long time span? Ladies and gentlemen, team proposition, they have talked about that the informal saving groups, they are not eating their money. We want statistics. Can you hear what I'm saying? Statistics. Then they said they want a bag that remembers you. Informal saving groups, they write things on papers. Formal banking institution, they have records. They will remember you. We have dividends and so on and so forth, the subsidies, the incentives. Second, ladies from Bishop Gatimungado girls, do you want to be CEOs of informal saving groups? Are you wasting your 4 years course here to go in an informal institution? Come on. We want CEOs for the commercial banks, for equity. And do you know, let me tell you a secret. There's no statistic of 90% of women are in chamas, 95%. Even they are telling us lies. The second speaker spoke of 95%. The third speaker spoke of 90%. Informal saving groups, there are so many, you can't estimate. It is a statistic that you can't take. From the Njiiri school is Emmanuel Nyakundi, ready to oppose the motion. Informal saving groups are more effective than formal banking institutions in promoting financial literacy among women in Kenya. First of all, with reference to FSD Africa Limited Financial Services, informal groups often provide a narrow range of financial services compared to formal banks. Women may miss out on opportunities such as investment, credit, and also insurance that formal institutions can offer, which are important for comprehensive financial literacy. Informal saving groups excel in accessibility, trust, common-based learning, making them highly effective for the grassroots financial education. However, they may lack the resources, scalability, and comprehensive service offering of formal banking institution. Ideally, a hybrid for that leverages. Behind every statistic is a mother, a sister, a daughter, striving for a better life. Formal banking institutions are not just about money. They're about hope, dignity, and a brighter futures for our women in Kenya. I rest my case.
We have been given 2 ears and 1 mouth. 2 to listen, 1 to speak. You've asked of statistics. What is 0.7%? That's not a word. What is 3.6%? What is 1%? What is 90% of people who are participating in chamas? I have given you the statistics. These are no lies. And yes, it can be estimated. It was done. The Star, November 22nd, 2019. And yes, it is long term. Isn't 20% of the GDP long term? Isn't 300 billion in Kenya long term? If this is the generation we are bringing who are supposed to be financially literate in the future and can't handle data, I'm immensely sad. For a melodious voice like that, I couldn't help but remember. The last time I had a voice like that was at Chama. It was amazing. I think you should join them. They'll teach you a thing or two. We have come to tell you about accessibility. We have come to teach you about technology. We have come to be able to show you how it can be accessible and how it can be flexible and how it can help everybody. And please, let me invite you. Come for a chama. We have Chapo next week. Thank you for your time.
Before he left, he told us that they're having Chapo next week, but I'm sure everyone saw the cake that was eaten during Bob Colimo's birthday. I don't want Chapo. I'm okay with the cake that we will have. I want to welcome everyone to bathing in milk and honey in the formal banking institutions. I do not want my future wife and I to be sitting down during Christmas waiting for a chama to bring us money so that we may make a feast for our children. Instead, I want us to be ready for any situation. I want my wife to be ready for any situation by ensuring that she is financially literate. This can only be possible through the pathway called formal financial institutions, formal banking institutions.
Right, again, great battle of wits. The motion, informal savings groups. chamas are more effective than formal banking institutions in promoting financial literacy among women in Kenya. There is a word, women, not just our mothers. The term is an umbrella term. We have women, and that we have mothers, we have sisters, we have aunts, and so on. Therefore, from both teams, I believe 2 speakers would have emphasized on that. However, to the individual debaters, we have Nyeri High, Raphael. You did have a good introduction. You did enter the stage with the story and so on, the 2010, to create a bit of empathy. You had the good statistics. However, some, for example, the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics didn't have the date. When was it published? When was the article published? Therefore, take note of that. Alvin, again, a good entry, the stage, the agricultural shows. You took me back to that moment where I will visit the shows. It's a good one. Again, the Chama's ideology, good. Basically, good rebuttal. But again, let's work on our research. 1 or 2 research that you stated didn't have the date. For example, the 95% of chamas didn't have the date, specific date.